Hello, friends. Pastor Amy here from Southgate United Methodist Church. I am back again this week with another list of notable names of notable African American individuals to lift up during Black History Month. If you're just joining us this week, I started off last week deciding that we're going to observe Black History Month, and I'm using a resource that was created by Reverend Brittany D. Stephen and made available to us through the Michigan Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. And my post last week also included a link to that resource if you would like to go back and find that and use that for yourself. Each day in February, this resource, it's like a daily devotional that highlights one African American person who made a significant contribution in their times and places, contributions to science, history, sociology, business, arts, and all kinds of things. I'm sharing those with you each week, so you can record those names down, do a little of your own learning, and if you learn anything new, tell me about it. I love learning new things. Also, each week has a challenge. And I want to give a shout out to those of you who participated in last week's challenge. You came to me on Sunday and told me at least one hymn in our hymnal, United Methodist hymnal, written by Charles Allen Tinley. And you all earned a gold star, and that was Judy, Barb, and Linda. So nice job, all three of you. There is another challenge this week of some information to track down and share with me next Sunday. So listen carefully all the way through, and you might get some other kind of Southgate swag or something. We'll see. We'll see what I come up with. So for today, February 8th, I encourage you to learn more about Madam C.J. Walker. She was an entrepreneur, can't even say it. She was an entrepreneur, an activist, and she was the first female self-made millionaire in the United States. She struggled with hair loss early in her life, and she developed a product that helped her regrow her hair and thought, hey, I can share this with others. So she began selling it. It became very popular, and she recruited other African American women to help her sell her products. She built a business empire off of this, and she was known for having really great business instinct, business acumen, and she empowered those who worked for her. Many of them predominantly were African American women. She's also known for her philanthropy. She was a great supporter of the NAACP, also funded many scholarships to Tuskegee Institute. So that is Madam C.J. Walker. Learn a little more about her on Wednesday, February 8th. On the 9th, we are encouraged to learn about W.E.B. Du Bois. Or maybe it's pronounced Du Bois, depending on whatever. I'm not certain. But he was a sociologist, historian, and writer. He was devoted to the sociological study of Black people in America in their unique context. He produced 16 research papers on this topic between 1897 and 1914. At Atlanta University in Georgia, where he taught. He shared in the creation of the NAACP and edited its magazine called The Crisis. He did that for over 20 years. He's got a collection of essays that he published in 1903 called The Souls of Black Folk. He was also engaged in public discussions about how to help improve the lives of African Americans as a whole. So W.E.B. Du Bois for the 9th. On February 10th, you are encouraged to learn more about Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. She was an educator, philanthropist, and humanitarian. She founded the Daytona Literary and Industrial Training Institute for Negro Girls in 1904. It's quite a name. It was a school that, under her leadership, it grew and eventually merged with the Cookman Institute of Jacksonville, 1923. That institution is still around today and thriving. It's the Bethune-Cookman University there in Florida. She, in her time, was the highest ranking Black woman in government. That happened in 1936 when President Roosevelt named her Director of Negro Affairs of the National Youth Administration. She held that position for 8 years. Then in 1940 became president of NAACP, which is a position she held until her death in 1955. So that is Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. On February 11th, it's Bessie Coleman. Bessie Coleman was the first licensed Black woman pilot in the United States, also first woman pilot of Native American descent in the United States. After hearing her brother's stories from the military, she really wanted to become a pilot. And yet she found that U.S. aviation schools were closed to her due to, of course, racial and gender discrimination. So she taught herself French so she could go and enroll in aviation schools in France, learn to fly, was known for a lot of really skillful techniques in the air, flying loops and things like that. She really, though, wasn't recognized as an aviation pioneer, though, until after her death. But that is Bessie Coleman, an aviator, an aviation pioneer. On February 12th, that is Sunday, Ella Josephine Baker. She was a civil rights activist, community organizer, an essential member of the civil rights movement, served as a field secretary and branch director for the NAACP. I think that was in the 40s. She co-founded an organization that raised money to fight Jim Crow laws. She did a lot of things. She also co-founded, she also started a student organization, and this is your challenge, all right? Listen up. Your challenge question, come tell me this on Sunday, and you will get something. Don't know what yet. The question is, what student organization did Ella Josephine Baker help start in 1960? It's a student organization. To give you a few clues, this organization adopted a policy of nonviolence, and they helped organize the 1961 Freedom Rides, as well as the 1964 Freedom Summer, which was a voter registration drive in the South. Okay, so what was the name of that student organization that Ella Josephine Baker started? Come tell me on Sunday, okay? All right, for the 13th, February 13th, Rosa Parks is who we celebrate. She might be one of the most well-known civil rights activists for sitting down for her rights. She was a civil rights activist, and she refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white person, which at that time was the law, that all African Americans had to give up their seats if a white person got on public transit. She refused to get up. And while she was not the first person to do this, her act did spark a movement that led to the integration of public transportation in Montgomery, Alabama, and beyond, because her act sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, which involved Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and a whole bunch of people. They worked hard to integrate public transportation and to improve the lives of so many people. So, Rosa Parks. And then the last name for this week, last but certainly not least, is Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She would be she's really fun to look up. She is known as the godmother of rock and roll. She got her start playing in church, playing guitar and singing gospel music. And then she brought her gospel music into nightclubs and other secular venues, and essentially kind of originated the genre of gospel pop music. And she has influenced all of those people who are credited with being pioneers of rock and roll. She is considered one of their influences. She's influenced early rock and roll musicians that include Little Richard, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Eric Clapton, as well as many, many others. So I encourage you to look up some of her songs. There's recordings of those on YouTube videos and other places. I think This Train is one of her popular, most well-known songs. So get out there and listen to some Sister Rosetta Tharp music. So those are our 7 individuals to learn about this coming week in honor of Black History Month. Don't forget to come see me on Sunday and tell me the name of that organization, and you'll get something. And so in the meantime, remember that God loves you, so do I, and I'll see you Sunday.